Her career is an example of an American Cinderella story. Her acting skills captivate the most demanding directors. She's not afraid to test herself and boldly accepts challenges. Margot Robbie. She confidently ascended the Hollywood Olympus. There are talent, determination, and charisma in her every movement. Why doesn't the actress like to be alone? Why did she slap Leonardo DiCaprio? In what role does she hate? Welcome to... Let's begin.
Thought being famous was gonna be fun.
The story of Margot Robbie began in an Australian resort town. The future actress was born on July 2, 1990, in the small town of Dalby in Queensland, best known as a tourist center. Her father, farmer Doug Robbie, did not live long with the children. When Margot was 4 years old, he left the family, leaving his wife with 4 children. I grew up in a very loud, busy house, and so I feel safe and comfortable when there is chaos around me. She says, I think it's why I love movie sets. Mom, Sari Kessler, was a physiotherapist who worked with the elderly and children with disabilities. After the divorce, she took care of Margot and her 3 brothers and sisters, Lachlan, Cameron, and Anya, whom she raised and provided for on her own. Recalling quarrels with her brothers and sister, the actress said, How did our mom do it? 4 unbearable children. Her energy still amazes me. I always wanted to be like her. Perhaps because of a cool childhood, the actress does not like loneliness. She spent weekends and holidays with friends and a noisy company, and you will never see Robbie hiding in the trailer between 2 scenes on set. The actress likes to communicate with the entire film crew. During the holidays, the children lived with their grandparents, where Robbie learned how to chop wood and take care of the household. Margot knew how to drive a tractor and milk cows, but she secretly dreamed of a movie, which she loved very much. I was into Goldie Hawn and watched her movies endlessly. I also liked The Fifth Element by Luc Besson. But I didn't even know who Martin Scorsese, Wes Anderson, Jacques Audiard were. For example, I discovered Citizen Kane much later. The future actress did not have relations with her father. Mom became a role model. Therefore, it is not surprising that Margot has the attitude of working hard and persistently achieving her goal. At school, she attended all kinds of extracurricular activities: rowing, dancing, drama, and softball. Over time, she developed a passion for surfing. She told Vanity Fair that she thought she might be a magician, but an interest in drama in high school led her to Melbourne and a kids' show, The Elephant Princess, co-starring the up-and-coming Liam Hemsworth. In addition, in the summer, Margot studied at the circus school in the trapeze class. According to her, she sometimes continues to practice it. I've also done it since. Really? Because on the Santa Monica Pier, you can do trapeze there. And on the pier in New York, you can do trapeze there. And I actually love trapeze. After leaving school, Margot entered the private Somerset College. To pay for her studies and help her mother, she began working at 16 years old at 3 jobs: a saleswoman in a shop on the beach, a waitress, and a maid. Margot spent the money on acting classes and a ticket to Melbourne. I was very scared and knew I had leapt over the unknown. As soon as I get depressed, I can't just go home for the weekend. It was too far. In Melbourne, I felt like I was in a foreign country. From that moment on, she was torn between studies, endless auditions, and work as a sandwich seller at Subway. It allowed Margot to make ends meet. Hope shone on the horizon. Despite external attractiveness, Margot's first roles were minor. Her name was not even mentioned in the credits. She had to cope without the help of a personal agent, and therefore Margot learned about all the news and castings from friends or ads. In 2007, the actress was finally noticed. It was the famous Australian director Ash Aaron who offered the aspiring actress her first significant role in the 2008 action movie Vigilante. Also, Margot appeared as a guest in 2 episodes of the Australian children's TV series The Elephant Princess as Butterfly, and starred in several commercials. The continuation of the collaboration between Robbie and Aaron was the thriller ICU, which was released the following year. At the time of the film about serial killers, the girl was only 17 years old. Meanwhile, Margot got to the casting of the series Neighbours, which was successfully passed. She did not believe so much that she would get into the popular series, so after the casting, she went to rest with her boyfriend in Canada. There, in between the conquest of the mountain peaks, she received a message that she had passed on one of the new roles. Margot became Donna Friedman, a student fashion designer. The actress devoted 3 years of her life to the series, filming 5 days a week for 17 hours. I thought there's letters whipping me. Donna's kiss with the female friend stirred controversy, though she remained a viewer favorite and was nominated for the prestigious Australian Logie Awards. But local film studios were too few for a young, ambitious girl. Neighbours was just a stage, and Margot understood she needed to move on. So she began taking lessons from a specialist who helped her speak with an American accent, and Robbie went on to conquer Hollywood in 2011. The actress did not want to return so much that she asked the creators to kill her character. I was no longer as scared as in Melbourne, especially since I was no longer a 17-year-old girl. Here, the struggle for roles and endless castings continued, but Hollywood was in no hurry to accept the young actress. For example, Margot auditioned for the role of Abby Sampson in Charlie's Angels, but unsuccessfully. The producers preferred Rachel Taylor. Finally, luck smiled at Margot. Studio Sony Pictures Television drew attention to her and offered her a role in another project, Pan Am, with Christina Ricci and Kelly Garner. Even though the series was closed after the first season, people remembered flight attendant Laura Cameron. The role was Margot Robbie's ticket to the world of big cinema. The film About Time by Richard Curtis was her debut. The story was about romantic travels, and Robbie's appearance was most welcomed. It's a lot nicer inside. Oh, sure it is. A year later, the talent of the young Australian conquered Martin Scorsese, and then a radical change in her life awaited her. The famous director very carefully approached the issue of selecting actors. Therefore, his decision about the actress for the role of a beautiful blonde was a mystery. But Margot sent Scorsese a cassette of the monologue and came to Britain to celebrate the birthday of Queen Elizabeth II, since she did not expect to get the role in reality. But Ellen Lewis, the casting director of Scorsese, noticed her tape and liked Margot. And therefore, on June 3, 2012, Margot received a call from her manager who said that in a few hours, they were waiting for her at an audition in New York with the director and Leonardo DiCaprio. I walked in for the audition, and Ellen Lewis, who was the casting director, "What are you wearing?" I was like, "My clothes?" She was like, no, honey. You're going to go downstairs, you're going to walk into Soho, you're going to buy the highest pair of heels you can find and the tightest dress, and then you're going to come back and do the audition." And I did. And I got the part. I rarely wear heels unless it's for like work things, so I probably would have they would have been turned to the back of my cupboard after that audition. There were a few people at the audition: Robbie, DiCaprio, Scorsese, and Lewis, who was filming. Leo, as usual, improvised in the actress when suddenly the actress rolled her eyes out of habit, and Leo started shouting in response, "What does this look mean?" Margot was confused, not understanding whether it was a replica or his acting. "I understand that I failed everything, and Leo just acted for both of us. I just looked pathetic," she recalled. But then the actress still pulled herself together. When in one of the scenes, DiCaprio, after another family showdown, said, "You should feel happy you got a husband who's in such great shape like this, huh? Come here. Come on, give me a kiss." Robbie was not at a loss and slapped her on-screen husband in the face with the words, "F you." I knew I had 30 seconds to do something spectacular, or I would miss my chance forever. At that moment, the room became quiet. Margot recalled she thought she would be sued because she hit DiCaprio. Robbie was afraid that she would never be able to work again. But that act was one of the decisive ones. Martin and Leo suddenly started laughing. "It was wonderful," said the director. And he provided Margot with a role that opened her a clear path to Hollywood and helped her become one of the biggest movie stars. Scorsese later said he saw her as a combination of 3 legendary Hollywood dames: Ida Lupino for her emotional daring, Carole Lombard for her comedic ability, and Joan Crawford for her toughness. At the film premiere, the actress worried that her relatives would not appreciate the explicit scenes with her participation. So she decided not to invite her grandparents, but she walked the red carpet with her mother. The role of Jordan Belfort's wife earned her a Best Supporting Actress nomination from the Georgia Film Critics Association. Write in the comments, what is your favorite role of Margot? And we will continue. After the release of The Wolf of Wall Street, Margot became famous. Offers rained down on her. She began to appear on the covers of glossy magazines and was at the top of the ratings of the sexiest Hollywood stars. Unfortunately, all the roles did not go beyond the image of the femme fatale. "I have a real aversion to being put in a box. I want to show them I'm the exact opposite," Margot says. "As soon as you have some success in one type of role, people want you to keep doing that thing," which I think would just be boring. Even then, she promised herself that she would act only with those directors who understand women and their psychology. "I was going to have to show people that I could do something different. I didn't want to get pigeonholed." In 2014, the romantic drama Sweet Fiancé was released. It was based on the novel of the same name by Irene Nemirovsky, but the actress got a minor role. I play a French peasant, and trust me, I looked revolting, Robbie recalled. The film received good reviews from the audience and earned 6 out of 10 points on the film critics' sites. The same year, the actress received the Empire Awards in the Best Female Newcomer category. On the set of Sweet Fiancé, the actress met assistant directors Tom Ackerley and Josie McNamara. They had the same opinion about the lack of good female roles, the ones that you want to star in, that the audience remembers. I remember saying, every time I pick up a script, I want to play the guy. Wouldn't it be so cool if people pick up scripts that were making and always wanted to play the female role? On the eve of the premiere of Sweet Fiancé, the crew rented a large house in Clapham, London, to live together. So 5 people lived in a 3-bedroom house. That decision led to 2 fateful things in the life of the actress: her own business and a wedding. Robbie, Ackerley, McNamara, and Margot's childhood friend Sophia Kerr decided to start their own production company, calling it Lucky Chap Entertainment. The idea for the name came to them during a feast, already in drunkenness. As Robbie recalled, perhaps it is connected with Charlie Chaplin, but nobody really remembers. "We were too young and dumb to know how scary it would be," she says. The main goal of the production company was to create women's stories. Each of its projects had to involve a female story or a female storyteller. They also, says Ackerley, wanted to find the next generation of talent, while being on the right side of culture. According to Margot, no one believed that a company based on a kitchen bench in London was even capable of competing. "They're such idiots, it would be a miracle if they did anything," the actress recalls. But they were able to do a miracle. But a little later, Margot actively supports the Me Too movement. After the arrest of Harvey Weinstein, she was asked to speak out in support of women in the film industry. To prepare for the speech, Margot talked to different women: actresses, makeup artists, and camerawomen. The topic of harassment affects everyone. It is important to say about women of those professions, whose names are never indicated in capital letters on posters. Robbie continued to work hard, although not all of her decisions were successful. In 2015, viewers were able to admire the actress in 3 films at once: Z for Zachariah, The Big Shot, and Focus. The young star met Ryan Gosling, Christian Bale, and Will Smith on the set. For the role of Z for Zachariah, she refused to participate in the film Birdman, which was eventually recognized as one of the 10 best films of 2014 and won numerous awards, including the Oscar for Best Picture. Didn't work. Twerk. But Craig Zobel's apocalyptic thriller did not live up to expectations, grossing only $121,000. You do dumb things when you're young. Crime tragicomedy Focus, directed and written by Glenn Ficarra and John Requa, allowed Margot to work with Will Smith. The actress did not hope to get the role, and therefore immediately after she sent her candidacy to the filmmakers, she left with her brother to Croatia on vacation. Before she had time to rest, Margot received a call and was asked to come to the studio. "He's f***ing with me, right?" Having packed her things in 20 minutes, she went by ferry to the airport, where she waited 6 hours for a flight to France, and from there, she had another 6 hours flight to New York. According to the law of meanness, luggage was lost on the road, and therefore Margot ran to the studio without makeup in ordinary clothes, but on time. However, Smith was very late for the audition, referring to the fact that he was driving from Queens. Margot could not remain silent, saying, "Yeah, well, I just came from an island off Croatia, and I'm here on time." The actress believed that she got the role thanks to that response. Will Smith described their cooperation. "The thing is, Margot knows exactly who she wants to be and what she wants to do. But that is not all. She also knows who you need to be and what you need to do." On set, Margot often said, "Wait a second, stop filming. Will, you need to play it like this."